I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Our little town here has just been absolutely decimated.
He's in Sewananoa, outside Nashville, North Carolina, one of many communities devastated by flooding.
Not only are the buildings gone on one side of the road, the ground that the building sat on is no longer there.
Hurricane Helene's damage is widespread from Florida to Tennessee. The storm blamed for at least 128 deaths. Hundreds more people remain unaccounted for. Some cut off with roads washed out and cell service out.
We will continue to do everything we can to help you recover and to help you rebuild, no matter how long it takes.
Vice President Harris at a FEMA disaster meeting in Washington. President Biden will go to North Carolina to survey damage tomorrow. Former President Trump posted on Truth Social, it's been a really bad hurricane response, after saying while meeting victims and touring damage in Valdosta, Georgia.
We're not talking about politics now. We have to all get together and get this solved. We need a lot of help. They have to have a lot of help down here.
Israel's turned up the heat on Hezbollah, sending troops into Lebanon today, days after an airstrike killed militant group's leader.
Israel is complementing its limited ground offensive with additional airstrikes across Lebanon, while Hezbollah is responding with a constant wave of rockets into northern and central Israel.
Fox's Nate Foy in Tel Aviv. There's a big strike that could affect the economy. About 50,000 dock workers walked off their jobs after midnight at ports from Maine to Texas.
We are fighting for our families, and we are fighting for the rights so that we have a right to get a piece of that money that they got so much of.
International Longshoremen's Union President Harold Daggett, a baseball legend who went from famous to infamous, has died. Pete Rose. He's the all-time Major League hits leader. But Rose is not in the Hall of Fame because his career ended in shame. Banned from baseball in 1989 for betting on games while he was a Reds player and manager, Pete Rose was 83. America's listening to Fox News.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for two unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
5 weeks before the election, the last scheduled debate tonight, a showdown of the Trump-Harris running mates.
This could be the first and the last debate here coming up before the big presidential election that's happening in just a matter of days. It's going to be Tim Walz on that stage and J.D. Vance. They're going to go after each other, but it really comes down to being more about the top of the ticket. They might skip over more of those personal attacks on each other, but we've heard that the Trump team believes Vance is ready. Walz is, according to media reports, very nervous for this debate, but his team says he is prepared and plans to be what? Well, just himself. They think that he's got those Midwest values that are going to come across on the debate stage tonight. Vance is expected to slam him, though, as a weird, radical liberal. No matter the campaign strategy, both of these teams know just how pivotal this debate could be.
That's Fox's Alexis McAdams outside CBS News, which is hosting the vice presidential debate tonight in New York City. On Wall Street, stock futures, they are mixed before a new month and quarter of trading, up for the NASDAQ, down for the Dow, which closed September at a record high. Happy birthday to Jimmy Carter, the first ex-president to reach 100 years old.
At his home under hospice in Plains, Georgia. Celebrations in honor of Carter's birthday. His legacy, both inside and outside politics, have been underway in Georgia for weeks, including a personal message to the longest living former president by the oldest sitting U.S. president.
Mr. President, on behalf of the entire Biden family and the American people, happy 100th birthday.
Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The Major League Baseball playoffs start today after a doubleheader that finished the season. The New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves split, so they clinched the last 2 National League wild cards, eliminating Arizona. There was also a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. The Detroit Lions beat the Seattle Seahawks 42-29. The Tennessee Titans topped the Miami Dolphins 31-12. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. Building and food service workers continue striking. U of I, SEIU 73 strike is still no agreement, and union members say they're frustrated, but working out a new contract with the university keeps them from going on the picket line. Union leaders were still in negotiations on Friday. Willow Pond Golf Course, which was formerly the Chinook Air Force Base Golf Course, is asking for $1 million or more. The course was designed in 1963 and changed to Willow Pond Golf Course 30 years later. Employee Candace Johnson says the current owner looking forward to retirement after purchasing the course more than a decade ago. Illinois ranking is down to 25 after suffering its first loss of the season to number 7 Penn State. Finding Illini fell 21-7 to the Nittany Lions at Beaver Stadium Saturday night. Luke Atmar completing 16 of 25 passes for 185 yards and a touchdown for Illinois, which dropped now to 4-1 on the season. You're locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
Hey, good morning. 7:06 in Champaign-Urbana, ESPN 93.5, coming to you live from the center of the universe in downtown Philo. Well, it is a beautiful morning here. Mr. Greg Sawyer, our meteorologist who has jumped on. These temperatures are very, very pleasant, aren't they now? I mean,
Yeah, there's a little roller coaster, minor dip, minor rises, no rain to speak of, maybe a sprinkle east of us this afternoon, but nothing as significant. So, ladies and gentlemen, start those combines.
Yeah, well, get that going, and hopefully the longshoreman strike, which is now...
Oh, I saw that last night come across the wire,
7 hours old. I mean, that includes farmers. What are they going to do with their grain if they're trying to export or...
Yeah.
What happens? There are 6 ships already stuck in New Jersey.
Oh, boy.
Because they didn't make the deadline at midnight.
Is this the West Coast as well, or just the East Coast?
I think
everywhere?
I'm not sure. I saw a highlight. I think it's more down north Louisiana all the way up the East Coast.
Okay.
So, and it's, I got a little bit on the stats on that. We'll see, but... what they're demanding is a little long for me. I don't know how you can demand a 77% increase they were offered. This is over a 6-year contract.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought the guy at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue was stepped in like he did with that. There was a potential rail strike, was it there a few months ago?
I don't know. The Teamsters are telling the White House to stand down, so there's that. And you got an election coming up in a few weeks, so... Let's check your weather, brought to you by the Urbana Park District.
And they remind you, it is Active Aging Week. So those over 50, you have over 40 different activities and different businesses to visit and getting up to date with technology, all kinds of options. UrbanaParks.org.
All right, sir, what are you seeing from Tuesday on in Champaign-Urbana?
I could tell Diana was looking at both of us when she was reading that spot, by the way. Anyways. Back to the matters at hand. A nice morning out there. 61 at Willard and Savoy, 56 now over at Rantoul. The breeze is fairly light, but west of the Illinois and at the Mississippi, it's huffing and puffing out of the northwest. This is the first in kind of a string of cool fronts, weak ones to come our way, generating a little subtle downward trend on temperatures, drier air, and boy, our producer friends like that. If you get some drying compliments of Mother Nature versus at the bin, more pennies than bucks in their back pocket. And no rain to speak of, maybe a sprinkle east of us this afternoon. That's it, and we are out probably 15 days, 20 days before anything of significance comes our way. What should be a very mild to warm first half to 3/4 of the month of October. So enjoy it while you may. A little patchy fog and haze around, otherwise mostly sunny, turning breezy. Bit cooler this afternoon. Lunchtime highs around 73. Readings may slide a bit this afternoon on that northwest wind, 12 to 25 and gusty. Much cooler tonight, 43. There'll be jacket weather tomorrow morning early on. Sunny skies and 71. Much lighter on the west and southwesterly breeze, though. We'll bottom out in the 40s tomorrow night, mostly 77 on Thursday, 78 on Friday. We'll tickle 80 for the weekend. A lot of those days still ahead. Then cool off back in the lower 70s for early next week, and no rain through early next week as well. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Soldier.
He's president of Take Back Action Fund. He was a Bush 2000 aide and the only person in the U.S. and the U.S. history to run a campaign defeating a majority leader in a primary. His name is John Pudner, who escaped the swamp and is now living luxuriously in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yes.
John, how are you?
Oh, fantastic. Just get ready for the big VP debate.
Yeah, big vice presidential debate. I mean, there's no strategy here if I'm J.D. Vance, John. I would just say, let's just talk about what you believe in. So let's just talk about kids being taken away from their families for sex changes when they're 8 if you disagree with that decision. I mean, that's the thing in Minnesota.
I know.
John, how do you?
I looked it up. I thought you were just kind of pulling our legs, Stevie.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't misinformation.
Right.
So how does J.D. Vance attack or go after or illuminate some of the extraordinarily radical positions of the vice presidential candidate, Tim Walz?
Yeah, he's got to stay focused on issues. He can't get distracted by things like rally sizes. I mean, that's what hurt Trump. Just Kamala kind of running out the clock by getting discussions going about things that don't matter to anybody. And you know, all the top issues, as I said, this year are really helping Republicans. By that I mean the issues people care the most about, which includes what you just mentioned, as well as the border, as well as inflation, but also just tying, you know, it's his running mate who's been in the seat of power here for the last few years, tying them. I think the only thing I'd be a little discouraged at in recent polling with Republicans is that there's only a slight majority saying that they prefer Trump and the economy. I mean, that should be a 70-30 again. Yeah, I mean, they have a record to run on. You know, they've failed for 3.5 years on the border and on inflation. You just got to keep hammering that. Not only are these the key issues that you're wrong on, but you've proven you're ineffective on them.
Okay, so when Tim Walz comes back and says that's just not true, then what do you say?
Yeah, well, I think, they generally have more been trying to divert from the issue. I mean, they may quote some economist who says, oh, no, really, we're better because, some academic elite.
Right.
But in general, clearly the word they have focus group is weird. For some reason, they think that, and this is what these come out, but their word is weird, that Trump and JD are weird. And to your point on the first issue, I'm not sure they want this campaign hinging on what people consider weird. I mean, the operations for sex changes for prisoners, too. I mean, obviously the children one's very scary, but, isn't that going to be viewed a little more weird? So people can say that, maybe Trump made a mistake in making age such a big issue and then suddenly wasn't Biden. Well, I think they may question making weird a key issue of their campaign.
Isn't it ironic? And I try not to be too derogatory toward human beings and their idiosyncrasies, but let me just say Tim Walz is different. He's a different dude. There's just no doubt about it. Yeah. His mannerisms, just activities, the way he talks, the way he moves, it just is an odd person. He's just a different guy. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He's just a different guy. And I tell you what, and maybe I reach out too much for my conspiracy theorists for me, but I think the connection to China is worth looking at. I need to know. I mean, he's not going to tell them anything they shouldn't know, right? I mean, he did all those trips to China to show students what an amazing country it is, and if that's what he believes, that's fine. I thought China was pretty good when I visited. But I'm just saying, that's a lot of connection there. And then he said something like this, no matter where I go or how long I live, I'll never be treated that well as I was in China. I need to know that there's nothing weird about that.
That's right.
Yeah, that is strange. And I think former comms person for us who went on to much bigger things, Rick Grinnell, has been the one who's really outlined that.
Yeah.
And just the seduction of China and how they will pay people for little things, little information that seems innocent, and then eventually blackmail them. And I'm not suggesting this has happened to Walz. I'm just saying that's China. Their playbook with with people who have any kind of intel is to do things like that. And again, not saying it's on that level with Walz, but when they have you over there, it's for a reason. And, they want to exert influence, and I think you're right. I think we need to be very wary of how cozy the relationship is.
Okay, microphones are loud. They're on, no crowd. So, and there's no fact-checking by the moderators. Right. It has to be done by each other, I guess. So I don't know. Again, this isn't going to move the needle. Why are we even doing it, I guess, is the question.
Well, first, going back to my old campaign days, I'd start by saying that, of course, Tim Walz is the greatest debater in the history of the universe, and anything short of that would be a massive disappointment for the Harris campaign. You always play the expectation game, and clearly Walz is doing the opposite of what I just said. He's doing they're leaking all this. Oh, he's worried.
He's nervous. He's nervous. He's nervous. Oh, come on, please.
Lower the bar.
Yeah, that's it. So we've all seen that game. But, I think it does matter more than others. Trump obviously had one phenomenal debate and then one bad one. And, I think what the VP can do is do a little cleanup if your running mates had a bad debate. We saw that Bush had one really bad debate. Cheney picked him up way back in my days there. And Trump had one bad debate and Pence picked him up. So, I think this one, hey, last debate, Trump got off topic, et cetera. And the fact that it's the last debate, I mean, that's the strange part here. There's not a presidential to follow it up.
Can you go fix the longshoreman strike now, John? Could you exert your influence or something?
That is such a strange one, because on the one hand, you'd say, well, doesn't that, say something about the people in power this is happening? On the other hand, the party has gone a lot more populist. So, the Republican Party. So, I'm really curious as to how that one plays out politically. Obviously, it's a huge issue as far as we all get our goods, coming in on those ports. But, I don't know how it plays politically. I'm really intrigued by that one.
Well, we'll probably won't even start feeling it till about a week out from the election. And then when we do, It might matter. It really might matter. I don't know who they're going to blame, but I guess they'd blame the party in power, maybe? I don't know.
That could be. It's one of those wild cards. Interested to see how it plays out.
John Pudner, how can people find you?
Sure. TakeBackAction.org, no spaces, and sign up then. And as I always say, we do Illinois events. We're just right over the border.
Well, good always having you on, John. We appreciate your time. John Pudner from Milwaukee, Wisconsin this morning on the Tapman's Towing phone line. It is 7:16, and now your sports headlines.
Stevie, I feel like there was an event where you and I, actually talked to Pete Rose, and the Cincinnati Red, who passed away at the age of 83, hits leader, banned from baseball in 89.
Yeah.
And I feel like, one of the stories that we heard from him was his dad being so hard on him growing up. And, and, scolding him in the parking lot and stuff, even though he got some good hits as a minor leaguer or, little leaguer or whatever.
I don't know. I
just spotlighted all these bad plays
I don't know.
He didn't do, and I just felt so bad for the guy.
Well, I think he talked about when he was in Cincinnati, hit a ground ball, did not run hard.
Right.
And then his dad waited for him after the game, had his foot on his bumper and his suit where he always dressed, and his dad looked at him and said, "Don't you ever embarrass me in my town again."
Right.
And that's maybe why Charlie Hustle became Charlie Hustle.
That's right.
Anyway, Pete Rose was an outstanding baseball player, one of the greatest of all time, not in the Hall of Fame because of the gambling stuff, but he certainly, nobody's ever going to break his hits record. He's number one in hits. He beat Ty Cobb many years ago.
Like 200 hit series. I was just looking at some of the statistics
24
and highlights.
years. He was, I think, my first impression in talking to him and being part of that MC that night, a little rough guy, kind of rough.
For sure.
Definitely a little rough. But, boy, what a baseball player.
Right. And so there's that going on. But Major League Baseball, it's amazing that they split this doubleheader and eliminated Arizona. And, New York Mets and Milwaukee game is at 4:30, and Atlanta and San Diego at 7:30 tonight in the wild card, starting out with Detroit and Houston and Kansas City and Baltimore.
A lot of baseball, not including the Cubs or Cardinals, unfortunately.
Right.
And we'll see what happens with all kinds of changes with the Cardinals. We'll get into that coming up. Our weather this morning with Greg Soye now brought to you by Carl.
Carl reminds you, get your mammogram. It is October, and we are spotlighting the Mills Breast Cancer Institute at Carl with you every step of the way. Learn more at carl.org.
All right, we'll check your Fox Business also coming up.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Central Illinois, Champaign, and Van Vicinity. First in a series of cold fronts coming our way later on this morning into the afternoon, but by and large over the next 5 to 10 to 15 plus days, little if any significant moisture anticipated with these boundaries. Some subtle ups and downs on readings, but signs of a longer stretch of mild to above average to much warmer than usual weather. All of that here certainly by the middle part of October and beyond, and happy October here. In the meantime, a little patchy fog early on, mostly sunny, turning breezy, a bit cooler this afternoon. Midday highs to about 73. Temperatures may slide a bit this afternoon. Northwest wind 12 to 22 and gusty in that drier air, and a clear sky, diminishing wind, much cooler in the overnight, low down to 43. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 71. Winds will turn light west southwest in the afternoon. 40s tomorrow night, mostly sunny, a bit milder for the day on Thursday at 77. Upper 70s Friday and Saturday, near 80 on Sunday. Back into the lower 70s, a cool off, but still no rain early next week. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm just Greg Soye.
Since Busey Bank first opened our doors in 1868, we have built upon a tradition of close relationships and broad financial capabilities. Our experienced team provides the highest level of personalized service to ensure we accomplish your goals, simplifying your wealth management and business lending needs and ensuring a legacy for generations. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The East and Gulf Coast dock workers' strike is expected to have limited impact on inflation if it doesn't drag on. Barron says some freight shipments have been moved up or rerouted to the West Coast already. The New York Federal Reserve Supply Chain Pressure Index is close to its long-term average. That suggests there is capacity to handle the disruption. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said yesterday that policymakers are not in a hurry to cut rates quickly. The dock workers' strike for higher wages will be watched by the Fed, which is monitoring signs of broader wage inflation. CVS Health is considering options for the company, including breaking it up. The Wall Street Journal says the CVS Board of Directors has directed a review of the business, which has been going on for weeks. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
It's time to take the quiz. 5 questions, 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week.
History, pop culture, science, sports, civics. How much do you know? Let's find out.
Who was the first person to walk on the moon?
Jackson or something?
Neil Armstrong.
Take the quiz every weekday at thequiz.fox and then listen to the quiz podcast to find out how you did.
Play, share, and of course, listen to the quiz right now at thequiz.fox.
Rodney recently decided to sell his home and contacted the Nate Evans Group to learn more about his options. Well, Rodney said that not only did the team at the Nate Evans Group help him prepare his home and organize showings, he said the team was there for him every step of the way. Rodney says that the team at Nate Evans Group was able to sell his home for a great price, and he highly recommends Nate and his team to anyone that is thinking about selling their home.
I feel like it's the experience that really works for Nate Evans and the Nate Evans Group with eXp Realty. They all have been part of more than 100 home sales in their career. He doesn't hire inexperienced agents, so you can trust Nate and his team. If you're just exploring options, it's easy to go to your phone right now, nateevansgroup.com, and you'll see a button in the middle of the page, Get Home Value. As you enter your home address and watch what happens, this is a great way to get things started, weigh the pros and cons. Just call the only agent I would call if I needed to sell my home. It's Nate Evans, 217-239-7113, an online search of Nate Evans Group to start packing.
Sell your home with Nate. Today, go to thenateevansgroup.com.
In 1925, Bud and B. Reichard founded a small plumbing business in Urbana. Today, nearly 100 years later, A&R Mechanical is still thriving. A&R Mechanical believes in designing, building, and maintaining. And is one of the largest and most innovative contractors in the Midwest. Their team creates and sustains essential facility systems for several of the university athletic facilities, like the State Farm Center, the Memorial Stadium expansion, the Ubben Basketball Complex, the Smith Football Performance Center, along with the baseball, softball, and the Immersion Indoor Golf Facility. Their impact on Champaign-Urbana is legendary. For nearly a century, A&R Mechanical has been a cornerstone of our community. I'm Jay Lehman, former Fighting Illini All-American linebacker. Congratulations to A&R Mechanical on nearly 100 years of dedication, innovation, and community spirit. Design, build, maintain. It's what they've done for nearly 100 years and what they'll continue to do for the next 100 years. A&R Mechanical, celebrating a century of excellence in service. Visit ar-mech.com for more details.
Ever wonder why you pay your bank to have a checking account? Fisher National Bank does too. You see, they offer free rewards cashback checking that gives you cash back on debit purchases, no service fees or balance requirements. Simply make 12 debit card purchases, receive electronic statements, and have one direct deposit in a monthly cycle. It's so simple. Reward yourself today with rewards cashback checking. Learn more at any branch or FisherNational.com. Fisher National Bank. Exceptional communities, exceptional people. Member FDIC. Paul's Machine has served the grain industry for over 40 years. Area farmers need systems to operate at peak efficiency. To get your season startup assistance now with remote and on-site diagnostics and troubleshooting, pre-season preventive maintenance services on dryers, along with sales, installations, repairs, and upgrades, reach out to Paul's Machine. We build solutions. Stay on top of your grain game. Click on Grain in the Capabilities tab at paulsmachine.com.
Farmers are going to face a serious issue when we have, perishable items that are going to be sitting at docks you're not going to be able to recoup that because those things are going to perish. They're going to decay. To the American consumer, that means that the things that you enjoy purchasing are not going to be on the shelves in the coming weeks. And when you ask what's happening, it's going to be a result of this delay in the ports.
There was really a lot of pressure coming from the White House in the final hours yesterday and over the weekend to try to avoid a strike here, shutting down container ports from the East Coast through the Gulf Coast. The group representing the employers actually made an offer yesterday to the union to increase wages by 50%. They offered to triple the employer contributions to employee benefits and keep the current protections on automation for the workers the same. But the union rejected that offer, and so here they are taking to the picket lines in a strike.
Okay, so you have longshoremen on strike from Texas all the way up the East Coast. They want 77% increase on their wages over the next 6 years. They were offered 50%.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding is there's a lot of six-figure people there, and the crane operators are getting $300,000 a year. So 77% would be $500,000 a year, and maybe that's what it pays. I don't know.
Wow.
I think the West Coast guys, my understanding, West Coast do make that kind of money, and they want to match their West Coast brothers. That's one thing I've heard.
Right.
So.
This is dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas that have been picketing since midnight when they went on strike. And it involves around 45,000 members in this International Longshoremen Association. It affects 36 ports and is the first by the union since 1977.
All right, they're talking about $5 billion a day. What is that? That's a drop in the bucket. We don't understand billions and trillions here. We just don't.
Mm-hmm.
It'll have an impact, I would think, on the grocery store. We've been through that. It's called supply chain, remember?
Yep.
Okay.
It talks about reigniting inflation and causing shortages of goods for the next more than a few weeks.
I promise you the White House doesn't want this 5 weeks from an election. There's just no way. Because we probably won't feel anything for the next few weeks because the shelves are stocked. And then you're going to hear, I can't get that.
Mm-hmm.
One guy raised the asparagus 50 cents a pound simply because he's going to try and fly it in.
Mm-hmm.
Use airplanes, the cost of flying it in versus barging it in is 4 times more. So guess who gets to pay that? So it's the most peculiar thing is they want no technology. Part of the contract is you can't AI me out of a job. I'm sorry, that is a non-starter, isn't it?
Right.
You can't demand that I can't grow technologically because the world is changing. You need to change.
Yeah.
You need to become more valuable. You need to figure out how you can be a person that can't be taken out of your job because that's life. I mean, there's not going to be any McDonald's workers some days.
We are moving to animation for sure.
Automation. You're going to have people that are going to order McDonald's and robots are going to make my sandwich.
Right.
Someday that's just a note. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you legislate into your contract that you can't evolve technologically where I don't need Barbara anymore? I mean, I'm sorry that I don't think that's going to work. Maybe they'll give in on that side if you give me the 77% increase, but I don't know the numbers. They say, well, they're making so much.
Well, the base salary, $81,000 per year, but then some can pull in over $200,000 annually with the large amounts of overtime.
Well, crane operators, I understand, make $300,000. So if they make, you want to go up that high and run a crane? No, thank you. I'm not interested in the job, and the job should pay what the job pays, just like a coach. Everybody laments that a coordinator can get $1 million. Go be a coordinator.
Right.
Put your name in.
Mm-hmm.
Work the 9 million hours, all the stuff you have to do to get to that level. If you don't like something, it's not proper, I don't think, to be jealous of somebody. You go do it yourself. You work toward it. Go after it then. You want to be a head coach? Do it. Well, I don't know. Well, you got to try, right? All
of
these
course,
guys did
looking
the same
for
thing.
more employer contributions on retirement plans and strengthening their health care options.
Chances are that union deal is better than most of us have.
Yeah.
Chances are. But again, go join the union.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that.
Well, speaking of unions, locally, the food and building service workers at the University of Illinois have reached a tentative deal with a new contract as they've been rallying. We've been noticing that on the quad, and the SIU Local 73 reached a deal with union negotiators recommending for ratification, according to Robin Kaler, who you used to work with, talking about the union members agree to a contract and they return return to work tomorrow, from what I understand.
That's good to hear.
Well, and this could have been, that it's today, October 1st. So congratulations on that, getting back to normal.
Okay, that's the University of Illinois news. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens with the longshoremen, but I think that the fact that they haven't talked since June, to me, is irresponsible for both sides.
Right.
Why aren't you sitting? They say sit down, lock the door, sleep on a cot. Nobody leaves.
Right.
See if you can figure it out.
Get those negotiations done.
You got to figure it out. We'll see what happens and how it impacts us all. 7:30 news, weather, sports, all coming up next.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. Striking workers on the picket lines at ports on the east and Gulf Coast.
Right now, everything is off the table. Nobody's talking right now.
Harold Daggett, president of the International Longshoremen Association, Fox's Lydia Hu, at Port Elizabeth in New Jersey with more on the offer from employers.
To increase wages by 50%, triple the employer contributions to employee benefits, and keep the current protections on automation for the workers.
It was rejected by the union. President Biden will visit devastated communities in North Carolina tomorrow. Zach Dasher lives in Swannanoa, just outside of Asheville.
Our little town here has just been absolutely decimated.
He spoke to Fox and Friends earlier. At least 2 injured when rockets are fired into central Israel from a civilian area in Lebanon, not from the Israeli military. America's listening to Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. City of Urbana looking to increase its motor fuel tax to help repair roads. During last week's city council meeting, Urbana proposed options for increasing the tax. One of the options illustrates a gradual increase over 3 years. The impact of the increased tax will help the city. The benefit will be room to reassess and chance before increases would take effect each year. A University of Illinois student filed a sexual assault report they say occurred on campus over the weekend. U of I police got that report of the student who was sexually assaulted at 1:30 Sunday in a residence hall. University police also say the student and the offender met at a party before the assault. Construction of one Urbana school coming right along. Last October, the Board of Elementary approving reopening Wiley School. It'll serve as a 6th grade school starting next year. Foundations for the building addition should be finished sometime next month. Urbana also says outer wall construction will begin soon. You're locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
Check your weather this morning, brought to you by Kramer Siding and Window.
Your premier provider for home improvement, specializing in siding, windows, doors, roofing, outdoor living. Visit KramerSiding.com.
Well, we'll get everyone. Let's check weather for Central Illinois, Champaign, Urbana, and vicinity. Overall, quiet, uneventful weather here the next 10 to 15 days. Yeah, you bet, through the middle part of the month at least, with signs of another big warm-up getting our way and coming our way later next week and beyond. Still not done with 80-degree weather, along and coupled with low afternoon humidity. A bit of a breeze from time to time. It ought to be a rampeting up of harvest operations across much of the area. A little patchy fog around early on this morning. No big deal. Mostly sunny, breezy, turning a bit cooler this afternoon. Midday highs to about 73. Then that northwest wind 12 to 22 and gusty will allow temperatures to slide a bit this afternoon. Overnight lows tonight much cooler with diminishing north winds and a clear sky down to 43. There's a hint of autumn for you. For the day tomorrow, sunny skies and 71. Light west-southwest wind for the afternoon. Turns milder Thursday afternoon at 77. 78, partly cloudy Friday, up near 80 for the weekend. Another cool front, but no rain will drop us into the upper 60s and low 70s Monday and Tuesday of next week. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm Beatles, Greg Solke.
All right, 7:34. It is the 1st of October.
Yeah.
2024, last quarter. October, November, December, got Halloween.
Yes, we do.
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yep.
In 2025.
Lots of different fall festivals coming up. I know we're working with the Champaign Park District for the Flannel Fest that'll come in the mid of October. And heck, we're doing Back the Badge Fest, which is coming up with Warrant on Friday night at the City Center. In fact, if you'd like to go with a friend, text in Warrant to 359-2255. We'll be talking with band member Robert Mason in about an hour.
All right, so what a devastation in the Carolinas, North Carolina, Asheville particularly hit hard. I know quite a few died in the Tampa region. They're still discovering bodies. This is a bad storm. We're talking about 2 million out of power this morning. And just when you don't have a cell phone, you don't have a road to drive out of because it's flooded, and you have no power, you're on your roof waiting for help.
I think the death toll is at 130 or something.
Can you imagine God bless the people who do the work discovering and recovering bodies. That would be is there anything worse than that? I know. Man. Anyway, so we are thanking the Red Cross and all the people. Yeah. Samaritan's Purse with Franklin Graham. His group's always at these disasters. And politically, everybody's kind of scrambling for position. But Donald Trump said yesterday, this isn't about politics. We got to help you.
Yeah.
I've not heard him say stuff like that
That's
before.
right.
Anyway, we'll see how long this takes, but it is like you're here today, gone tomorrow. We all know about it, just basic on the tornadoes that have hit our history. Remember Sidoris was bad in the 70s.
Yep.
And Ogden, of course, famous Ogden, early 90s, where Ogden was pretty much flattened. Gifford, that was fairly recent. Gifford took tremendous devastation up there. So you're going around. We're on a day like today, and then all of a sudden, kaboom! The storm comes, and tornadoes for us, hurricanes for them. But boy, the hurricane was coming in, and it didn't look too bad, and then it just stayed. And when you get over 90-degree water, it just intensified. I think got to Hurricane 4. The highest there is 5.
Right.
So,
but the lack of power, the cellular service, lined up for fresh water, looking for messages from loved ones.
No gasoline, no charging your phone.
Oh man!
I mean, there's a vote for a generator, I guess.
Yep.
Because even a little generator, if it can power the refrigerator and a few lights, and it's you don't think it'll happen to you, and then all of a sudden it happens to you. So
President Biden touring Asheville by air in an aerial tour tomorrow.
All right, 7:36. Brett Bielema, after the Penn State game, what is your assessment looking at a week off?
I think we're a good football team. I like our demeanor. I like their work ethic. I like their edge. They're very disappointed, as I had hoped they'd be. I think the part that really gets exciting for me is we did enough things today to cause the failures that we have, then I just don't see any of them be things that we can't be correctable, right? Got a little bit, especially in the second half, got sloppy with some pre-snap penalties that really took away. I mean, obviously convert that fourth down there at the end to have it taken away with a flinch. And again, some of these guys haven't been in this environment. I think that one was on Melvin, right? And for him, this is by far the biggest environment that he's played in, and he's done a lot of really good things. We're just going to continue to grow and make sure we grow forward.
All right. Well, now what?
Yeah, our plan had kind of been set as coaches. I might have tweaked it a little bit depending on what came out. I just think what I've learned in this profession is, the guys that are giving us high reps that have played really, pretty good football. Obviously tonight we want to be better, but we definitely have to take advantage of this bye week to let those guys get their legs back under. Pat Bryant, Zachary Franklin, really our starting offensive line. Luke, I think it's going to be important in this 4-week run to have fresh guys going into that week. So we'll back off them. Tomorrow we'll just really kind of have a day. It's a player's day off. We'll just have a little bit of recovery in the afternoon. I'll be on the road Sunday, Monday. We'll get some really good work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then on Friday they'll get some work with Tank. We'll kind of take Saturday to kind of get it, and then we'll jump Sunday into some early prep on Purdue, right? So just kind of use that as an extended week for us. We'll get Purdue in a little bit Wednesday and Thursday, but also I think the biggest thing we're gonna have to do is correct the things that didn't go well tonight.
All right, well, we're a really good football team, folks. We're 4-1. Now Purdue's going to come in. Purdue's kicked our butt the last 2 years. It kind of hurt us for a Big Ten championship opportunity 2 years ago with Devin Witherspoon and Chase Brown and all the good guys that we had back 2 years ago. And so Purdue hosted us last year. Ryan Walters' first year. The bad football team beat us by 30. Now we're going to be a 20-point favorite. Doesn't mean we're going to beat Purdue in a week and a half. So have to beat Purdue. This is one of those where, and I know Brett knows it, everybody knows it, but why can Purdue beat me in football? God, it's so annoying. I think losing to Penn State, we're not going to, obviously we're not overlooking anything. We got to play Purdue.
Get the Boilermakers. 2:30 kickoff has been announced, and that's, Saturday, October 12th. I'm not talking about this week. It's odd for me to have a bye week after bam, so many back-to-back home games.
3 in a row.
Penn State game. It's on FS1. So
2:30, Purdue, Illinois. A game we're going to be heavy favorites. Don't let that fool you. Purdue is got our number. They've had our number. But we're a better football team than that team for sure. And then we can figure out Michigan and Oregon the next couple of weeks. 20 till. All right, so the Cardinals, I just can't shake it off that somebody thought I was Bill DeWitt Sr. I was at the Cardinal game once, and somebody thought I looked like Bill DeWitt Sr. What? He was drunk, but still.
I mean...
He's like 90, okay? Come on. The guy came up to me.
Don't take that to heart,
But
Stevie.
I know. How could he possibly look like that?
You
Have you
don't.
seen him? Come on, man.
He must have been,
He
didn't
was
have his glasses and very
he was like
wasted.
20 years old, okay?
I'm sorry.
He was only on a beer.
So what happened at the Cardinal meeting yesterday? I know you were listening.
Yeah, it was a shakeup. They're calling it a reset.
Okay.
The word is rebuild. Ouch. Ouch. That hurts more.
Yeah.
That means you're not going to be very good for a while. Cardinals aren't used to that. They've had one losing season this century.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So Chaim Bloom is the new man, but not now.
Okay.
John Mozeliak came to the microphone after Bill DeWitt Sr. You'll hear, and he seems like a good guy, and he's older than me, but I guess by not a lot. Anyway, here's Bill DeWitt Sr. at the start of the Cardinal press conference.
Mo will continue to oversee baseball operations in 2025, which will be his final year. Since taking over in this role in 2008, the Cardinals have won 6 Central Division titles, appeared in 4 wild card appearances, won 2 National League pennants, and 1 World Championship. All of that with only 1 losing season. After next season, Chaim will succeed Mo as president of baseball operations, and he has agreed to a 5-year contract beginning next year. We're excited about the future and committed to seeing this multi-year plan through. As we enter a period of significant organizational change, we believe this approach will give us the best chance of ensuring a smooth transition. Thank you, and now I would like to turn it over to Mo.
Thanks, Bill. Perhaps to your chagrin, you guys are stuck with me for another year.
It would be really, really, really hard when you know nobody wants you there. And he has done a good job if you look at all the things that he's done.
Right.
But nobody wanted that. They wanted him fired. I mean, that's just what happens when you're into a game like this. Yeah, so he's actually quite accurate. They don't want him. And that can't feel good. You work really, really hard. Remember, I told you that John Mozeliak told me when I was at the Cardinal affiliate event that he enjoys a baseball game for 15 minutes after they win, and that's it. Because I said you're supposed to, I asked a public question. I said, you're supposed to enjoy this game. You're supposed to enjoy this life. Do you enjoy this? He said, for 15 minutes, if we win, that's it.
Or you can think you're blessed. As you know, Gary LaRocque recently announced his retirement. I want to thank him for his years of dedication and service to the St. Louis Cardinals. He is one of the most respected men in the game of baseball, and he will continue as an advisor in 2025. Also effective immediately, Mike Gersh will assume the new role of Vice President of Special Projects. Gersh has been a tremendous partner to me and has been an asset to the Cardinal organization, and I look forward to working with him in his new role. I want to thank Gersh and Gary LaRocque for all their hard work, tireless hours, late nights. You guys made this job fun for me, so thanks, guys. The friendships over the past 30 years have been amazing, and I'm so grateful for those relationships. But as I turn the page to my final year in this role, there are some things I hope we can accomplish. I'd like to set us on a course to get back to consistent winning. Focus on the buildup of our baseball operations. Invest in new infrastructure and technologies. See the groundbreaking in Jupiter. You may ask yourself 2 simple questions. What is this, and what is it not? What it is, it's a multi-year strategy, a focus on player procurement and development. It's a long-term investment in the organization's future. What is it not? It's not a Band-Aid solution, and this is not an excuse.
Okay, so essentially this is a rebuild. This is going to take time. We talk about, player development. What does that mean? It just takes time. You got to pick the right players. Then you develop the ones that you think will really grow and get better. But
Mason Wynn was a good tap.
No, he's going to be your shortstop for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But what else you got? It looks like Paul Goldschmidt will not be back. I'm hearing buzz about Sonny
Gray?
Sonny Gray, thank you. Sonny Gray is probably going to wind up in Cincinnati. And then Nolan Arenado.
Right.
I don't think the Cardinals want to spend a lot of money when they're in this position because you're probably not going to win. Why spend $35 million a year on a player? So let's see if I get it's Chaim, not Shame. It's spelled Chaime or something. It's Chaim Bloom is your new head man after next year. I don't. So let's see if I got a little Chaim.
As you know, I joined the St. Louis Cardinals in January as fresh eyes for our entire operation, with an emphasis this year on player development. More than anything, the remarkable success this organization enjoyed for much of the past 2+ decades was fueled by its homegrown talent pipeline. This year, I saw some of the reasons why. I saw the pride in what's been accomplished here over the years, the passion for teaching the game, the care for the organization, for what it stands for, and especially for our players. And I also saw in many of our staff a hunger to learn, to grow, to get better, to change. And that's a good thing, because that's what we need. That's what this game demands.
Okay, Chaim Bloom will be head of the Cardinals after next year. John Mozeliak stepping down. That's what we got out of the press conference yesterday. As your home for the St. Louis Cardinals, I have a brand new contract with the Cardinals that I'm going to sign. We will continue to be your flagship home for this area for St. Louis Cardinal baseball.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Of course, keeping that. Of course, we'll keep the Cardinals.
I wonder how old Bloom is. He looks pretty young.
I mean, they got to be 40-something, wouldn't you think? Anyway, we will see. Somebody we were with had an interaction with him and said he was amazing.
Oh, really?
Because I think his role right now has been kind of low-key.
Uh-huh.
And I think this was kind of the long-term plan for a while.
Okay.
All right, a few other things. Got baseball starting. The playoffs are beginning today. Weird how Arizona was really sitting wonderful for the last couple of weeks, did not play well, and got inched out by the Mets in Atlanta after that doubleheader yesterday.
Right.
So now you got playoff baseball beginning. I mean, if it's not the Yankees and the Dodgers, maybe Philadelphia, I think. But I think the Yankees would be favored, certainly. Guardians are good. I can't stand Houston because, for me, they'll always be known as cheaters when that banging on the garbage cans.
Oh, I know.
And then the COVID year, and they didn't get booed like they should have for a whole year.
I know, and then people forgot.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we're starting out the wild card series with the best of three at 1:30 with Detroit and Houston. At 3 o'clock, it'll be Kansas City and Baltimore. 4:30 for the New York Mets and Milwaukee. So quick turnaround after splitting their doubleheader yesterday. And then 7:30 is Atlanta, San Diego. Again, quick turnaround for them too, with the Braves in action last night, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
The meaning of the doubleheader yesterday is that both of those teams, Atlanta and New York, pitch their best guys.
That's right.
Because if you don't,
they said Chris Sale. They don't even know if he'll get to play.
Well, he's not going to play for 4 more days. I mean,
right.
You can't pitch him tomorrow.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So you're burning your guys. But you have to win.
That's right.
You had to. So
let's see. I did look up Chaim Bloom, and he's 41.
Okay.
Of course, coming from the Boston Red Sox as a top executive. And Pete Rose passing away at the age of 83, our hit king who was banned from baseball in 89. Will he make the Hall of Fame ever, even after
I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He said that nobody's going to talk about the Hall of Fame until I'm dead.
I see. And here I am talking about it. Okay. Well, we do have that kickoff time, and it's on FS1 on October 12th against Purdue as we kick off at 2:30 against the Boilermakers and say, go Illini. Right. Take note of Thursday the 3rd. Number 2 Nebraska comes to Huff Hall. It's the Stuff Huff home opener at 6 o'clock if you want to get ready to do that. Also, Tennessee over Miami. Haven't talked Monday Night Football. And Detroit over Seattle, 42-29. Panthers and Bears, Packers and Rams, Saints and Chiefs.
Well, you remember Devin Witherspoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Troy Aikman last night on the broadcast said, this guy, Devin Witherspoon, this is Troy Aikman talking last night.
Right.
This guy, Devin Witherspoon, he seeks contact. It is incredible how aggressive and how physical he is. He reminds me so much of Charles Woodson when he had his great years with the Green Bay Packers. Charles Woodson was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Devin Witherspoon started playing football as a junior in high school. He was 0 stars. Nobody wanted him. Lovey brought him in, And he turned into that with Brett Bielema. Remarkable. Devin Witherspoon, the team lost, so Seattle's 3-1, but he's on a very good football team, and he's part of that. And apparently, Seattle.
Season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circus Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com.
Must be 21 or older. For Illinois Problem Gambling Services, please call 1-877-968-7848.
Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley. I have a big announcement. The Champaign Ashley store is getting a fresh new look, and you're invited to the remodel sale. Right now, save up to 65% off furniture and accessories throughout the store, with hundreds of items in stock and ready to take home today. But that's not all. Join us outside under the carport every weekend in September and October for extra savings on select furniture. It's all happening at your local Ashley in Champaign at 602 West Anthony Drive. Hurry into Ashley because these deals won't last long.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather. Free Central Illinois, Champaign event and vicinity. First in a series, everyone. Let's check weather. Free Central Illinois, Champaign event and vicinity. First in a series of cold fronts coming our way later on this morning into the afternoon. But by and large, over the next 5 to 10 to 15 plus days, little if any significant moisture anticipated with these boundaries. Some subtle ups and downs on readings, but signs of a longer stretch of mild to above average to much warmer than usual weather. All in that here certainly by the middle part of October and beyond, and happy October here. In the meantime, a little patchy fog early on, mostly sunny, turning breezy, a bit cooler this afternoon. Midday highs to about 73. Temperatures may slide a bit this afternoon. Northwest wind 12 to 22 and gusty in that drier air, and a clear sky, diminishing wind, much cooler in the overnight, low down to 43. Tomorrow, sunny skies and 71. Winds will turn light west southwest in the afternoon. 40s tomorrow night, mostly sunny, a bit milder for the day on Thursday at 77. Upper 70s Friday and Saturday, near 80 on Sunday. Back into the lower 70s, a cool off, but still no rain early next week. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting, I'm just Greg Soldier.
All right, it's our friend Dr. Todd Likens, the pet pro veterinarian of Madison Kirby. How are the puppies there, Todd?
Oh, we got happy dogs all over the place out here.
What is it with Wednesdays, like Bone Day or something? What do you do for your dog?
Yeah, well, that's if you ask me right now, I got one chewing on an antler and another one on another type of bone. So. Yeah, dogs it must be bone day for everybody.
Antler, that's new? Is that a new thing?
No, they've been around for a while. I don't know. I think people go out and, they shed them, and then people pick them up and sell them. They split them. They last a long time. So pretty popular.
Well, we just took a trip to West Point, New York, and we took our 2 little 8-pound Morkies, Lovey and Mosey. They are such great travelers. What makes a dog? Is it just a thing? This dog travels well, this dog throws up? I mean, what is it about that?
Yeah, you know what? Most of the time, if you start your dog is young, they'll outgrow the vomiting phase. It's the stop-and-go stuff that can get them. But on the longer trips like you went on there, that generally the smooth motion, most of them do okay. But, yeah, a lot of dogs do better some dogs do better than others just naturally.
Well, when little Lovey was little, Janet took a 155-hour van ride, so maybe that helped.
Yes.
That got her used to it, I'm sure.
I went northern Canada all the way back around through Colorado. It was like 155 hours, and they'd look back at Lovey, and sometimes they weren't sure she was alive. She was in hibernation. She's like, wake her up, shake her.
Right.
So, but our doggies just loved the trip, and it was so much fun. People travel with their dogs a lot, don't they?
Oh, for sure. It's a lot. Some people do travel medications for those that do have some problems because they get too worked up and things like that. But yeah, I think a lot of people travel. Even a lot of people fly still anymore with their pets.
Yeah, there's that going on. It's easier if they're really small. You can put them in front of you in a little container. But I see hotel dog friendlies more and more.
Right.
They're doing dog day at the ballpark, and 500 dogs are showing.
That's right.
500 dogs.
That's crazy. That really is.
Well, it's Dr. Todd. Okay, anything else on the streets I need to know about?
Not right now. I mean, it's just fall allergies. That's what we're in the middle of. The fleas are still happening, so my dogs are digging big holes and a lot of dirt, so a lot of baths going on around here.
I just don't know. I've done 3 dogs at once, 16. Come on, man. I have no idea what kind of life that is. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
And my granddoggy and my dog, I feel like they're shaking their head more, and that could be an indication with these red kind of infected ears, right?
Right, and see, an underlying cause there could be mild fall allergies too, because when you get an allergy, your body heat goes up, and then it heats the ears up, makes it a perfect growth media. So, yeah, head shaking, red appearance on the inside of the ears, a smell. A lot of times you can smell the yeast growing in the ears.
Okay,
So,
how can people get hold of you, Todd?
Miss Taylor always runs the text line, 217-355-5051.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dr. Todd Likens, veterinarian at Madison Kirby, also home of the English Cream.
Yes.
Golden Retrievers in America.
Beautiful
They're
dog.
white dogs. They shed, but they're so lovely and so smart. Well, it's October 1st. Jimmy Carter.
There can be no nobler nor more ambitious task for America to undertake on this day of a new beginning than to help shape a just and peaceful world.
That's Jimmy Carter.
Humane.
He's 100 years old today. By far the longest living president of all time by a number of years. How old was Ronald Reagan? He was 80-something, I think. Anyway, 100 years old today. I remember Jimmy Carter came to campus.
Oh, yeah?
Johnny went to hear him.
Okay.
And liked him. He was, my name is Jimmy Carter. I'm from Plains, Georgia. And everyone clapped.
Had
and
the big smile.
Peanut farmer, Sunday school teacher.
That's right. Habitat for Humanity founded because of him.
Habitat for Humanity. And Rosalind died probably not quite a year ago.
Right.
And they didn't think he'd last very long in hospice and all this. He's 100 years old. And has turned another year on this October 1. All right, the news will be coming up. We've got our law enforcement official of the month. Stand by, friends. It is 4 before 8 o'clock.
Airlig Plumbing Solutions. For your kitchen and bath remodels, sump pumps, maintenance plans, and even licensed backflow testing, Airlig has you covered. Your local plumbing contractors for industrial, commercial, and residential jobs can provide plumbing services, repairs, and installs with a quick turnaround by calling or texting 217-722-9499. Send an email with your plumbing issue and contact information to info@airligplumbing.com.
Whether your project is below ground, above ground, or you're just breaking ground, United Rentals has the equipment and tools you need. They rent and sell everything from forklifts and backhoes to scissor lifts, trench shoring systems, and portable restrooms. They also offer a complete range of industrial tools for any job, small or large. Count on United Rentals for the world's largest rental fleet, backed by a team of equipment experts ready to help you get the job done. For the branch nearest you, visit UnitedRentals.com or call 800-UR-RENTS.
Hey Illinois, get the ultimate winning combo with Circa Sports and Rosati's Pizza. Download and fund the Circa Sports Illinois app with just $20 and you'll score a free pizza. Bet big and taste the win with Circa Sports and Rosati's. It's sports betting the way it should be. Visit circasports.com/Rosati's. Must be 21 or older. Exclusions may apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Why use Lands Underground Solutions? We have the team, the technology, the tools, and the most experienced team in the industry. From a basic sewer pipe repair to replacing a sewer main, installing a water line to installing a septic system, installing underground utilities for a new construction project to rehabilitating the old pipes under a school. Lands has the most versatile and experienced team in the industry. Residential, commercial, and industrial, when it comes to your underground pipes, think Lands Underground Solutions. Why call anyone else?
Do you need some extra cash?
Be a special census field representative and make $18.83 an hour. You'll be working a small area on campus and have some flexibility with this job.
A special census is coming to campus residents around the University of Illinois. Field representatives are needed through November with Urbana's partial special census.
Visit urbanaillinois.us/census jobs.
Make $18.83 an hour. Visit usajobs.gov/jobs and look for the city of Urbana.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it is so important to work with experienced agents like Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at Taylor Realty Associates. They have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at Taylor Realty Associates. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
This is WSJK, Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana. It's 8 o'clock.
Get out.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Israel's telling residents across the border in Lebanon, ordering evacuations.
Overnight, Israeli forces launched ground incursions into southern Lebanon, going after Hezbollah positions along the border. My team and I were actually embedded with an Israeli commando unit as they crossed into Lebanon.
Fox's Trey Yinkt is now back in Israel, reporting from Haifa.
There are a number of places along the border the Israelis are looking to put new pressure on the Iran-backed group.
Days after an Israeli strike killed the leader of Hezbollah, which says it is ready for a direct confrontation in Lebanon as the militants fire rockets into Israel. It's another day of misery for Hurricane Helene victims from Florida to the Carolinas. Fox Weather's Robert Ray reports from Asheville.
There are so many communities in peril right now that have not been able to get communication because of the lack of cell phone service and power outages. It's not just Asheville that has been decimated and people going through these issues. Hundreds unaccounted for because they cannot communicate.
The storm is blamed for at least 128 deaths. There are still more than 1 million power outages. Ships are sitting idle at ports from Maine to Texas. Big containers unopened. After about 50,000 dock workers went on strike after midnight in a contract dispute.
The ports shutting down are responsible for about half of all U.S. imports and billions of dollars in trade per month. A J.P. Morgan analysis predicts the strike could cost the economy more than $5 billion per day.
Fox's Brooke Singman. The economy could be a big issue tonight in the CBS News vice presidential debate. J.D. Vance versus Tim Walz. Perhaps the last debate before the election in 5 weeks. They're celebrating in Plains, Georgia, where Jimmy Carter at home and hospice hits the century mark.
Happy 100th birthday. You've always been a moral force for our nation and the world.
Our oldest president, Joe Biden, and a new message to our oldest ex-president ever. America's listening to Fox News.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
While Israel keeps battling Hezbollah in an escalating conflict in the Middle East, the war continues in Ukraine, where a Russian attack hit a marketplace in Kherson, killing at least 6 people, as NATO's leader, taking over today, says Ukraine's right to self-defense does not end at the border, supporting Ukraine's counterattacks inside Russia.
Mark Rutte says he can't wait to get to work. The former Prime Minister of the Netherlands has taken the reins of NATO from 10-year Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, but Rutte has a warning for allies.
We have to spend more. We have to increase our collective defense.
With the US presidential election approaching, Rutte promised he could work with either potential winner, praising former President Trump for his tough approach on military spending and describing Vice President Kamala Harris as a highly respected leader. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Abortion rights remain a big issue, especially for Democrats ahead of the elections, and it's getting more controversial in Georgia, where abortion restrictions have been put on hold in court.
A judge in Fulton County striking down the law which barred most abortions in the battleground state after 6 weeks of pregnancy. It took effect in 2022 after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The judge explaining liberty in Georgia includes in its meaning, in its protections, and in its bundle of rights, the power of a woman to control her own body, to decide what happens to it and in it, and to reject state interference with her health care choices, adding that power is not, however, unlimited when a fetus growing inside a woman reaches viability, when society can assume care and responsibility for that separate life. Then and only then may society intervene. The ruling means abortion is legal in the state up to 22 weeks of pregnancy. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are mixed before October trading after the Dow and the S&P 500 ended last month at record highs. Baseball's playoffs start this afternoon, the day after the New York Mets and Atlanta Braves clinched the last 2 National League wild cards. I'm Dave Anthony, and this is Fox News.
Here's a look at local news. City of Urbana looking to increase its motor fuel tax to help repair roads. During last week's city council meeting, Urbana proposed options for increasing the tax. One of the options illustrates a gradual increase over 3 years. The impact of the increased tax will help the city. The benefit will be room to reassess and chance before increases would take effect each year. A University of Illinois student filed a sexual assault report they say occurred on campus over the weekend. U of I police got that report of the student who was sexually assaulted at 1:30 Sunday in a residence hall. University police also say the student and the offender met at a party before the assault. Construction of one Urbana school coming right along. Last October, the Board of Elementary approving reopening Wiley School. It'll serve as a 6th grade school starting next year. Foundations for the building addition should be finished sometime next month. Urbana also says outer wall construction will begin soon. You're locally up to date from the Stevie Jay Broadcasting Newsroom. I'm Jim Miller.
At 8:06, it is the 1st of October, 2024. Meteorologist Greg Solier is up and around and moving in. We got, I see, 40s in the morning here in a day or two, huh?
Yeah, that's what, the longer nights, the old equinox and cooler Canadian air will do for you this time of the year. And more importantly, drier air, lower humidity. Those dew points have been past couple of days up around and north of the 60-degree mark. Some remnant moisture from still Helene. And that circulation, by the way, extratropical, still showing up on the maps and charts over southern New England, and some rain still in the mid-Atlantic region this morning. 3 more systems we're tracking in the Atlantic, 2 of which have a fair chance. One coming out of the southwestern Caribbean, over the far southern latitudes of the Atlantic that have to be watched here probably over the next 5 to 10 days. And that first system out of the Caribbean may impact Florida with, of all things, more rain later on this weekend into the weekend. No organized rain whatsoever right now in the foreseeable future, the next 10 to 15, maybe 15 to 20 days. So it's all ahead forward as the back 40 permits with harvest operations. 63 now at Willard in Savoy, 62 at Rantoul, the first in a string of cold fronts to come our way in the next 5 to 10 days. Ups and downs on temperature, nothing worse than that bearing down through the Illinois River right now. And a couple of high mid-level cloud patches throughout the area, which is an otherwise mostly sunny day's worth of weather ahead. And about 73, that'll be about a late morning or a noontime high, and the temperatures may slide back a little bit this afternoon on a gusty northwest wind. Much cooler tonight. There are those 40s down to 43. Wouldn't be surprised we see some upper 30s out northwest of us with a diminishing north wind. Tomorrow sunny skies at 71, 46 tomorrow night, milder, and 77 on Thursday, 78 Friday, up near 80 for the weekend. Sunny to partly cloudy skies will cool slightly back into the lower 70s next Monday and Tuesday. For Stevie Jay Broadcasting Meteorologist Greg Solier.
Well, why do we celebrate law enforcement on this radio broadcasting company? Because they deserve it. Because they're critical to our life. Because if you call 911 and nobody answers and you have to defend your backyard, you'll be sad, mad, angry, nervous, and hopeful somebody will come and help.
That would be bad.
We celebrate law enforcement. This month we're celebrating Jessica Alvarez, born in Champaign, raised in the inner city of Chicago, returned to Champaign County to start a family, has been back here for 17 years. She's with the Parkland Police. Why are you in law enforcement, Jessica? Why?
Well, it's actually something that I kind of fell into. It was never my dream to be a police officer as a little kid. I know a lot of my colleagues that I work with have, it's kind of through the family.